वेलकम एवरीबॉडी। आज हमारे साथ डॉक्टर गिरीश आहूजा, विश्व पितामह ऑफ आवर सीए फ्रेटर्निटी। आज जैसा आपको सबको पता है कि आज इंटरिम बजट पीयूष गोयल जी ने अनाउंस किया है, तो उसके बारे में हम प्रतिक्रिया करना चाहते हैं कि कैसा रहा। मतलब हम डॉक्टर गिरीश जी से ये पूछना चाहते हैं कि आपकी फर्स्ट रिएक्शन क्या है इस बजट के बारे में।
Friends, let me tell you, this is neither a full budget nor a vote of account. It was, the tradition has been, the convention has been that whenever there are elections held nearby, what we do is we present a vote on account which is passed before 31st March so that we can incur the expenditure incurred after 1st April, on or after 1st April. But this is because for the last 2 years, the trend has been changed. Now the budget is presented on 1st of February, which is normally passed before 31st March. And since it is passed before 31st March, there is a possibility of bringing some changes from assessment year 2020-21 also, which they have done. Convention has been not to tinker with the budget, just to have vote on account and all amendments to be brought in the finance number 2 bill. But this time, changes have been made. Finance bill has been introduced, not only for bringing the rates of taxes, but also bringing few amendments. This is the first time we have seen that the changes are there. Let me tell you, it is an interim budget. It has to be passed by the parliament. It cannot be otherwise made applicable. It has to be passed by the Lok Sabha first. And since it is a money bill, automatically it will have to be passed by the Rajya Sabha, and if they don't pass, it doesn't make any difference.
क्योंकि सर ट्विटर्स में कई जगह ये चल रहा है कि
फाइनेंस बिल आया तो उसको पास तो करना ही पड़ेगा। ये फाइनेंस बिल पास तो उनको करना ही पड़ेगा बिफोर दिस पार्लियामेंट बिकॉज इट इज पार्ट ऑफ द बजट. It is part of the budget. So once it is passed, it become applicable. Now the second bill when it's come, they may make changes, they may make amendment in that, but this is the first time because the parliament is there and they have a majority, they will pass the bill. The parliament has passed it, it becomes a law for 2020. So few changes which was very less, we was not expected, but because this is an election year and they have a power, convention has been not to do it. But there is no restriction also there. There is absolutely no restriction. Earlier, the finance bill used to be passed in the month of May, if it is a normal finance bill. And then if it is a finance bill, normal finance bill, it was passed before 31st March, but that was only vote on account. This time it is not neither a vote on account, nor a final, it is interim. The moment I say the interim budget, it is just like interim dividend. It is just like interim dividend. So you could give the benefit in between also, and since it will be passed by the parliament, it will be made applicable. That is a different thing. Finance bill 2 will also come. The amendment will come there also. They make the changes, but it will be very difficult to make it retrospective changes for that. Prospective, you could do whatever. But whatever income tax is, it is always for the year. So this is the first time I've seen that assessment year 20,000, they have given the benefit. This cannot be said that this is only projection or they have given the budget, but it will be passed in the second one. No, it has to be passed here only. It is part of their budget papers, which is presented to the parliament. It will have to be passed.
सर अब हम आपसे 87A के बारे में कुछ डिस्कस करना चाहते हैं।
देखिए मैं आपको चीज़ बताऊं, जो अभी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने बोला वो बिल्कुल एक्सपेक्टेड यही था, that the limit has not been raised from 2,50,000 to 5 lakh. There is no intention, but there was intention to give benefit. But they also wanted the assessee to file a return of income, because return of income has to be filed if your total income before claiming deduction under 80C to 80U exceeds the maximum exemption limit, that is more than 2,50,000 before claiming deduction under 80C to 80U. Mind it. Here what they have done, they have said return to be filed, but if your total income, that is after claiming deduction under 80C to 80U, does not exceed rupees 5 lakh, and you are an individual, please note the word individual, it is not for HUF, and a resident of India, and your total income after claiming deduction under 80C to 80U does not exceed rupees 5 lakh, then you will be allowed a rebate. Please note, it is a rebate, it is not exemption. It is a rebate from the tax which is you have calculated as per the normal provisions. Rebate will be to the extent of tax payable or rupees 12,500, whichever is less. Because on 5 lakh the maximum tax is 12,500. So if your income is 4 lakh, the tax will be less. So the rebate will be to the extent of the tax payable. So if it is income is 4 lakh, the tax will be, let's say, on 150, say 5%, 7,500, you will get a rebate of 7,500. So what I am trying to explain, that up to 5 lakh, if it is less than 5 lakh, rebate is 100%. And if it is 5 lakh also, the tax is 12,500, the rebate is also 12,500. Because tax on 5 lakh is 12,500. So there will be no tax payable by you. Since tax is nil, surcharge and health and education tax will also be nil. So no tax. But the moment you cross 5 lakh, please, you are 5 lakh 10,000, you will have to pay tax of 14,500 plus 4%. Why 14,500? On 5 lakh 12,500, on 10,000 2,000, 14,500 plus your health and education says. So it is something very surprising. I earned 10,000 and I paid 14,500 plus what you call health and education says. I will definitely put in a word for the amendment to be made that there should be a marginal relief in this case also. That your tax should not be more than the income earned about 5 lakh. Suppose I take 5 lakh 10,000, extra earn is 10,000, so tax should not be more than 10,000. I should be given that rebate. Let's see, we'll try that. We will put in this word. If it happens, very good. Otherwise, up to the government. So this is 87A. Please, individual, resident in India, total income after claiming deduction under ATC to ATU does not exceed rupees 5 lakh. The entire tax or 12,500, whichever is less. This is 87A.
Sir, what about standard deduction?
Very simple. Last year, standard deduction brought under section 16IA, which was 40,000, or the salary, whichever is less, or the amount of salary, whichever is less. Now, this 40,000 has been raised to 50,000. So, if it is rupees 50,000, irrespective of your salary, or the amount of salary, whichever is less. So, 50,000 is the standard deduction. 10,000 benefit has been given to everyone who is a salaried employee. That benefit is only when you are up to 5 lakh. But this benefit is to all salaried employee, whether he is a pensioner, senior citizen, or whatever maybe. He is a salaried employee, he will get an extra deduction of 10,000 rupees. So all employees getting benefit of 10,000 rupees.
Sir, now section 54.
54.
A house. And
let me tell you, so far today, what you have is you earn a capital gain on the transfer of any residential house property. And the capital gain is, if there is a long-term capital gain, this long-term capital gain is exempt to the extent it is invested in the purchase of one house. And that too in India. To the extent you invest that in a one house, that too in India, within a period of 1 year or before the date of transfer, or 2 years after the date of transfer, or you go for construction within 3 years after the date of transfer. This is the position. Today is capital gain invested exemption, but only for one house. Now, the amendment is a proviso that if your long-term capital gain does not exceed rupees 2 crore, please, long-term capital gain does not exceed 2 crore. You can invest this in more than one house, that means 2 houses. You can invest in 2 houses, exemption will be given. Of course, 2 houses in India, exemption will be given. But this benefit, you can claim once in your lifetime. Once in your lifetime. Number 1, long-term capital gain should not exceed rupees 2 lakh. Whatever amount invested out of this long-term capital gain, which you are going to claim exemption under 54, can be invested in more than one house, that is 2 houses. But that too, please note, only once in lifetime. Second time you cannot do it. Second time, yes, that exists. You sell one, buy one. Sell one, buy one, any number. That is no problem. Sell one, buy one, 54 you can do any time you like it, provided you satisfy the condition of section 54. वो section 23(3) read with section 23(4) है. 23(2) and 4. You know that one house, for self-occupied, you can opt for one house to be assessed as self-occupied. उसकी annual value nil होगी और बाकी अगर हाउस मोर देन वन हाउस फॉर सेल्फ ऑक्यूपेशन इट इज ट्रीटेड एज डीम्ड टू बी लेट आउट. आपको इसको टैक्स देना होता है अगर एक से ज्यादा घर आपके पास है. द चेंज इज नाउ you can opt for two houses instead of one, two houses to be treated as self-occupied. Annual value of both the houses shall be nil. If you have more than two houses, the rest will be deemed to be let out. Option is yours. You can choose out of the 3, 2. Out of the 4, 2. But more than two houses, the balance house or houses shall be treated as deemed to be let out. But if you have only two houses, anywhere in India, you have two houses, absolutely no problem, annual value nil. But mind it, the interest deduction of 2 lakh is for both the houses taken together. The amount of deduction or the aggregate amount of deduction, whether for one house or two houses, which you have asked for self-occupation, cannot exceed 30,000 if it is repairs etc. and 2 lakh. Mind it, the deduction per house is not 2 lakh. Aggregate deduction of interest for both the houses taken together will be limited to 2 lakh. This is the change which is self-occupied. Residential and residential house can be occupied by only individual or HUF.
Yeah.
It is not available to anybody else. Next point also important. Recently, Section 23(5) was introduced that if you have a house property which is held as a stock in trade, then it will not be, the annual value will be nil. If for 1 year, the annual value will be nil from the date from the end of the financial year when you have obtained the completion certificate. For 1 year, annual value will be nil. The year of completion plus 1 year. Now this 1 year, because everybody was saying we are not able to sell the houses, the real estate is in a problem, they have large stock in trade, they are not letting it out, how can they earn the income? This is deemed let out. So they have increased the limit. This 1 year has been raised to 2 years.
2 years.
Although I have the opinion this should not be there, but for the time being, the relaxation is there. Let us see the new budget comes. We will try that this section should not be there. Then, now coming to this is what you have already done. Now you was talking about the TDS. You know the TDS under, in the case of time deposit, whether it is recurring deposit or a fixed deposit, TDS is not deductible if the total amount paid or credited during the year does not exceed rupees 10,000. Senior citizen is 50,000. But for other than senior citizen, the TDS is to be deducted if the total amount of interest paid or credited during the year exceeds rupees 10,000. But if it does not exceed 10,000, no TDS. They have raised this 10,000 to 40,000. Meaning thereby, no TDS to be deducted by the bank or a cooperative bank or NBFC at all. These banks, post office, not the NBFC.
Not the NBFC.
Post office, cooperative bank or bank, scheduled bank, if the total amount paid or credited, not on saving, time deposit, recurring deposit, does not exceed rupees 40,000. 40,000. Please don't think you are benefited. Nothing. His only thing is the exercise of taking back. Mind it, the return of those persons who are getting interest less than 40,000 is also submitted by the banks and cooperative society to the income tax department. They have the information. Don't think nobody will come to know I've got 40,000 rupees as interest, so let me not show, because how will they be able to catch me? The information is with them. Although it is not in 26 years, but it's a separate report.
15GH का.
No, not 15GH. No. It's a 15GH is separate. 15GH, though, you know TDS to be deducted at all. This is
now their limit
where interest was given less than 10,000. Again, a statement of all the persons was going to the income tax department. It is a duty of the bank or a cooperative bank or post office to submit that statement. Now they will submit for up to less than 40,000. So information is available with the income tax department. Don't take this there that nobody will come to know if I receive on FDR 40,000. So let me not show it. There is a tracking. Tracking is there. There is a complete tracking is there. So please be careful about that. Similarly, in the case of rent under 194I, where the limit was 1,80,000, now it has been raised to 2,40,000. means no TDS to be deducted if the payment amount of rent does not exceed 2,40,000. That is the only change in 194I, and that was a change in 194A. So this is what is required. Any other, sir?
What about the e-assessment?
Let me tell you, e-assessment.
Because the existing e-assessment
Let me tell
not
you,
going well with the department.
Today, e-assessment is not a perfect e-assessment. One, it is optional. Two, you know the assessing officer. You know the assessing officer. Who is your assessing officer? You know him. This only thing is you have to give everything on the online, but you can also go there. The future is different. There, the taxpayer and the assessee will not know each other. Jurisdictional, who is going to be your assessing officer, you will not come to know. Who is the taxpayer, the department will also not come to know. You will have to file a return, and it will be pure e-assessment, which is going to be mandatory, let me tell you, no face-to-face at all. It's mandatory going to be. Even if you have to go for personal hearing, it will video conferencing. It will be video conferencing. You will not know where your AO is sitting. Who is your AO? You will not come to know. You may be filing their return in Delhi. He may be sitting in Chennai and doing your assessment. Assessing officer and taxpayer, you will not be able to trace. This is going to be a thing which very likely it takes time. You know, it is not that easy. You have to change all the systems and everything. It will take, they have said in 2 years' time we are going to do that. But today it is, you know the assessing officer. It's a e-assessment, but you know the assessing officer who is your assessing officer. So that is the difference.
और कुछ आप इस बजट के बारे में?
सर देखिए, बजट के बारे में मैं ये बताऊं, इससे ज़्यादा कर भी नहीं सकते थे. ये भी बहुत कर दिया. Which was, I was thinking only some 87A and standard deduction be changed. But they have given a benefit in the form of 54A, they have given a benefit in 194A, 194I, they have given a benefit of, उसको भी दिया real estate वाले. एक साल का extension कर दिया affordable housing के लिए. Because of that was expiring on 31st March 2019, now it has been raised to 31st March 2020. एक साल के लिए और उनको benefit देते हैं.
सर जो working
सबके लिए
inventory जो था,
वो 5 साल के पीरियड में घर कंप्लीट करना था ना, और 5 साल के करना था, और अप्रूवल लेनी थी अप टू 31st March 19. दैट अप्रूवल कैन बी टेकन अप टू 31st March 20. सो 1 year एक्स्ट्रा हो गया ना. जिसने नहीं लिया ले ले, और एक्सटेंड कर दिए. और 100% रिडक्शन है. वो कंडीशन वही है, 30 मीटर 60 मीटर वही कंडीशन है. 3% कमर्शियल हो सकता है, बाकी नहीं. वो कंडीशन हैं 80 IBA में, वो कंडीशन तो लगेंगे. बस यही.
सर पिछले 2 दिनों से व्यूअर्स बहुत हम कह रहे हैं कि आपने बजट टॉक तो आप ये एश्योर कीजिए कि बजट टॉक जून में हम जुलाई में. देखिए
ये बजट टॉक होनी चाहिए थी.
नहीं
इतने के लिए नहीं होनी चाहिए थी ना. तो आई टोल्ड हिम देयर इज नो क्वेश्चन ऑफ एनी बजट टॉक फॉर दिस पर्सन. We will have it when the second bill comes. Obviously, all changes are going to be made there, not at this stage of time. Still, I am expecting 2-3 extra changes. They have done it. Otherwise, I was expecting only 87A and standard deduction. But some relief they have given in the form of 54 or maybe more than one house, which is very welcome. That's all I would say. I was not expecting, but it is welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.